Hi everyone, I'm really sorry about the first recording. I did it on a laptop that doesn't have a microphone working apparently. So I'm going to try and do it on my phone, and I've already made the kombucha, but I can still talk through how I made it and how you put it together and the different benefits that it can provide. I really hope that the sound's working for you guys this time. This is probably a good learning curve and a good way to work out how to use the Facebook properly. That's okay. We can go through again. I don't know how to see your comments on my phone. I don't know how to respond to you guys. I really hope you can hear me and see everything that I'm going to show you. I've done this once before and it worked fine, so I thought I'd be right to go. So I do really apologise for that. I'm going to try again and hopefully it'll work. I'll just sort of talk through some of the benefits of kombucha and fermented foods and how you can make your own at home as well. So this one probably won't go as long as the last one because I've made the kombucha. So I'm just going to have to talk you through how I put it together and how you can make your own at home, which is really easy and it doesn't take that long at all. It's quite a simple process, which is good because I'm all about easy. So fermented foods,
Not that long at all.
Okay.
It's quite a simple process.
Cool, so it is actually working. Okay, so I've just put it up on the computer, so if you comment I can respond back to you guys. I just wanted to check that it was actually working. So I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about fermented foods and how it can benefit your body, and then I'll talk through how I made the kombucha, and we'll go from there. So fermented foods and kombucha, a lot of people ask me, what is kombucha? So kombucha is fermented tea, and it's been used for centuries. And they've always known that there's health benefits with kombucha, but they've never known the exact science behind that. So we're just starting to discover about the microbiome and the health benefits that it has on our body. And scientific evidence is starting to show what fermented foods can actually provide for the body. It's a huge area of study, and I could talk for hours, so I'm going to keep this quite brief for you guys. So different things that fermented foods can provide for the body is a variety of health benefits. So it can help with mood disorders, depression, it can help with cancer and asthma, gut concerns as well, such as bloating and dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of gut bacteria in the digestive system. It can help with food allergies and sensitivities as well as metabolic conditions such as diabetes. So in our body, we have over 100 trillion microbiomes living in our gut and on our skin. We are actually more bug than we are cell and human. So per cell, there's around 100 billion bacteria for each cell of our body. So we are more bug than human. So different things that these microbiomes provide for our body is a barrier for our skin. They also help to aid in digestion and absorption of our food. They generate certain vitamins such as vitamin K in our body. They help with our immune function and our liver function, along with hormone balance and detoxification of certain toxins in our body as well. So our microbiome is created when we're in the womb of our mum. So different things that our mum eats, the environmental exposures that she has, all impact on our own gut, and also how we come into the world impacts on our gut as well. So a baby that is born cesarean versus natural will have a different microbiome to each other. So if you live quite a sterile environment, if you don't go outside and play in the dirt, such as if you live in the city compared to if you live in the farm, you're going to have different microbiomes to each other. We haven't found with science the exact ratio of bugs or the healthy colonization of bugs needed for good health. All we know at the moment is to have a variety of microbiome species in our gut, and also to have a nice balance as well going in the gut as well. So we don't know which bugs are better than others, and we don't know the ratio that we need those in. We just know that we need quite a variety of bugs to help us stay healthy. So some interesting points about bacteria that I've found is it can react with how we feel and our mood. So there has been recent evidence to show that the gut bacteria and the way we feel impact each other, and it's through the HPA axis in our body. And there is scientific evidence to show that fermented foods and prebiotic foods, which feed the good bacteria, help benefit our society and our microbiome community. So probiotics are bacteria that we get in supplement form that we put into our bodies, and then prebiotics are the foods that we put into our mouths to help feed those. And what happens is they eat them and they break them down, and the byproduct is a short-chain fatty acid, and fermentation actually occurs in our body while they eat the food as well. So it actually happens in our body as it's going to happen in our kombucha tea. So with our kombucha, we make our tea, and what happens is we put our SCOBY in, which is our bacteria and yeast compound, and it eats the sugar that we put into the tea, and then the byproduct that it makes happens through the fermentation process, and that's where we get our beneficial bacteria, and it helps to feed our bacteria as well. So it's quite interesting. I've been fortunate enough to learn how to make kombucha from my mentor Kate Eason from Food Define. She showed me about a year ago, and she introduced me into the world of the microbiome, and she showed me how it all works. And since then I've been fascinated and wanted to learn so much more, and I've been doing a lot more fermented foods and kombucha at home, because I've been finding that it does have a lot of health benefits, and it is helping our family. So kombucha that you make at home can be quite different to the kombucha that you buy in store. So if you've had kombucha that you've bought in store and you've really liked the flavour and the taste, you might find when you make kombucha at home it's quite strong. It might take your life back a little bit. It's sort of got a bit of a vinegar flavour about it. So I generally recommend starting small, and you can water it down. So if you want to water it down with just plain water, or you can also water it down with a little bit of soda water, which will keep it bubbly, and then have small. So start with just a small cup each day, just a little bit, and sort of build yourself up and just see how you go with it. Because some people do notice that they have gastrointestinal disturbances after they've been starting fermentation and drinking kombucha and having fermented foods in their diet. So sometimes they might get bloating, or they'll become gassy, they'll start burping, or they'll get runny stools. So you need to keep an eye on how your body's coping with the new sort of diet that you've introduced, and the fermented foods as well. So start small and see how you go. It does have a lot of health benefits, and it is worth it, but it isn't beneficial for everybody. And I do recommend with kombucha that I don't give it to people who have problems with candida or an overgrowth in yeast, because it can cause a lot of problems and interference, because kombucha does have yeast in it. So if you're somebody that you know that you have a candida overgrowth, or you do have concerns, it might be beneficial to start small and just see how you go, or consult a practitioner to see whether or not it is beneficial for your body as well, because one size doesn't fit all, and I don't push a diet to fit everybody. I try to tailor it to the individual needs. Okay, so I have given kombucha to my daughter. She's 2, but I have watered it down, and I only gave her a small amount. It was probably a couple of teaspoons with some juice, and she quite liked it. So start small with your children as well, but they can definitely get on the bandwagon and have some with you as well. So I'm going to talk you through how I made the kombucha. Unfortunately, it's already made because I did the demonstration, but it didn't record. So I'm going to just talk you through how I did it. So I'm just going to move you guys. I'm really sorry about the terrible filming. Let me have a look. Okay. Haha, I turned around. Okay, so this is the tea. This is kombucha that I've made to put into my baby. So what I've done is I've put 2 cups of water into a big saucepan, yeah, and I've added 3 tea bags, okay. To that I've also added 2/3 of sugar, which I've dissolved. The water I put in was hot water, so I need to wait for it to cool down before I put it into my jar. So this is kombucha. This is probably better on my phone actually because I can get up nice and close and personal. So you can see the SCOBY. So this is what SCOBY looks like. It's quite, it looks a little bit like chicken fillets, and it's sort of got the same texture and consistency as chicken fillets as well, which I find quite funny. So what I'm going to do is, sorry, I'm just getting some more water. We like to wait for the mixture to cool down before we add it to our SCOBY, because the SCOBY don't like boiling water. So I've had this SCOBY for a few months now, and this is probably batch 4, I believe. So when I got it, the SCOBY was probably maybe those 2. And just recently in this last batch that I've done, I've gotten this big one here. So it does grow. So it does look a little bit like chicken fillets, which I think. So it does grow, and it does get bigger the more batches that you make. So this is, just while I'm waiting for it to cool down, this is what I made, and I'm really sorry that it didn't record for you guys. For future notice, I know how to do these live events a lot better. But what I've done is I've emptied out my kombucha into my bottles, and I've left about 1/4 of the mixture. The mixture was around up to here. So I've left around 1/4, might be a little bit more, might be more of 1/3. And I've left my SCOBY in here, and I've put the mixture into the bottles. And then I've added my flavours, which you can see. So I've got lemon and ginger in this one. I've added berries into this one. So I've got strawberries, and I've got some blueberries down the bottom, which have, there you go, there, they've sunk. And in this one I've got watermelon and fresh mint leaves. And I've probably put too much mint leaf in there. I got a bit excited, a bit carried away. So what I do is I leave the flavours or the fruit in the mixture for 3 to 4 days and put it in the fridge, and it'll happen, a second fermentation will occur, and then they're ready to drink, and they taste lovely. The lemon and ginger taste a little bit like ginger beer. And then I have made the berry one before. It's very fruity, very fresh. I haven't made watermelon and mint. This is the first time I've made it, so I hope it's really nice. So what I've done to make another batch is I've put 2 litres of water into a saucepan. I've put boiling water in, 3 tea bags, which I can take out now. Leave the tea bags in for around 2 to 5 minutes, and then you can take them out. And then I've just added my sugar. So I've added 2/3 of sugar in to the mixture and stirred it to dissolve, and then I just let it cool. Once it's cooled, I'll add it into my jar of kombucha with my SCOBY, and then I've got some cloth, just a tea towel, and I'm going to put it on the top, and then I just wrap an elastic band around it just to hold it on. And then I probably will leave it for around 2 weeks. In winter, it can take a bit longer. In winter, you're looking around a month, depending on how cold it is. I recommend if you do it in winter and you want it to ferment quicker, you just put a little tea towel around it or a blanket and keep it warm. In summer, you're probably looking around 2 weeks. I'll test it. And to know when your kombucha is ready, when you taste it, it'll have a little bit of a vinegar flavour about it, and it won't be sweet anymore. So that's how you know it's ready to go in. So then you can pour it out into jars, as I've done here, and add your flavours, and then you do your second ferment. If you like, you can pour it out and just leave it plain. You don't have to do this step. This is optional, but it does make it taste a little bit sweeter, and it gives it just a really nice flavour. And personally, I think when it's plain, it can be a little bit overpowering, a little bit strong. So it is nicer to have those fresh flavours, and it also helps to get some more nutrients into your diet as well. So some different vitamins and minerals that you get in your fresh fruit and vegetables that you'll add to it. So when this cools down, it's still quite warm at the moment, so I'll just leave it for a little bit longer. I'll add it into here, and then I'll put on my cloth and I'll leave it sit for around 2 weeks. And between then, I can try these beautiful flavours. And I got some fresh mint from the garden. So I'll just set you back up over here. Okay, hello again. So I'm really sorry that I didn't get to show you guys exactly how I made it, but it's quite easy. So just to recap, you boil your water, and I put 2 litres of water into a saucepan and added 2/3 a cup of sugar and 3 tea bags. And I used green tea for today. Sometimes I use white. White has a bit of a sort of a lighter flavour. Black tea can be quite strong. Sometimes I mix it up and I put white tea and green tea together, which I find really good. But I just did green tea today because that's what I had on hand. And then you let the sugar dissolve and pour it, wait for it to cool, and then pour it in with your SCOBY mixture. So I'll put the ones that I made with the flavour into a jar, into the fridge, and let them sit for 3 to 4 days to second ferment, and then they'll be ready to drink. So really tasty, really nice, really good for you as well. I do apologise that the first video did not work. This video will be a little bit shorter because I didn't actually have to make it. It was already made. Maybe I'll try and do another one in the future where I'm making it just to show you a little bit better of what I did, but it's quite straightforward and it's very easy to make at home. You just need to acquire some SCOBYs. You can buy them from Organic Feast at East Maitland if you're in the Hunter Valley area, or maybe a friend. You can get some from a friend if they're making their own at home, or you can buy them online as well. I'm not really sure how much they cost online. I'd have to do some research. But if you're interested, I will have a look for you and see what I can find. And you can make your own SCOBYs at home, but it's a bit of a process, and I'm time poor and I don't like to waste time fluffing around with things like that when I can just buy it or get it from a friend. So I was lucky enough that my mentor, Kate Eason, gave me some, so I've just put them in and they've grown quite large and they're looking really healthy and happy in there. So if you don't want to make kombucha and you've got your scobies sitting there, but you don't really want to make another batch, you can just leave them in a bit of the kombucha tea, and they're quite happy just to sit there and grow. And you can use them again when you are ready. So you don't have to keep making mixture after mixture if you don't want to. You can just let them sit and be happy for a little while. So next week I have Q&A live on Facebook like I've done today, and hopefully it's more successful. That's going to be on next Wednesday, which is the 8th of November, and I'm going to talk a little bit about health and well-being, different tips and tricks on healthy lifestyle. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, or any concerns that you have that you'd like discussed during that time, just send me a message, leave a comment, or email me, and I will discuss it in the video. This is, I've scheduled an hour for it again, so that's at 10 in the morning, and I'll just be including a little bit about plant-based diets and lifestyle as well. So if you have any questions, please send them through, and I will discuss them during the online Q&A. And then 2 weeks from today, I'm hosting a sauerkraut making demonstration / talk. I will actually make the sauerkraut and film it properly this time. And I'll also talk to you a little bit about fermentation of vegetables and pickling vegetables as well. Sauerkraut is super easy to make and a lot cheaper than buying it in the store. And it tastes really great homemade. I've had quite a few that I've bought in the store, but I find if you buy from off the shelf where it's not cold, it doesn't actually have the bacteria or the health benefits that you get from one that's in the fridge. So there's a little tip for you. If you do buy sauerkraut in store, you need to get it in the fridge. Otherwise, make your own, and I will show you how to do that in 2 weeks' time. So if you have any questions regarding kombucha and what we've talked about today, please leave them in the comments below, and I will answer you. Again, if you tried to log into the first demonstration, I'm so sorry there was no sound. I really hope this one's worked and you've learnt something from today. But until then, I will talk to you next week with the Q&A, and have a lovely afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.